Hello everyone. So we reached 9,000 subscribers. I think it's 9,003 right now. It's going to fluctuate a little bit back and forth. But regardless, I know that there's a lot of you out there that have been watching my channel for a long time, and I talk to you on a regular basis. Also, I've met so many people through this channel. People have found me. Also, join the tribe, the Makeshift Tribe on Facebook. You're more than welcome to basically apply and just answer some questions, and basically you're in. If you're interested in joining the tribe or some kind of spiritual Facebook group, I encourage you to do so. It is called The Makeshift Tribe if you're looking for it on Facebook, and I'm the admin. I created it so I can let you in if you're interested in that. There's a lot of great people in it. But for all of those, everybody watching this that is either, watched me for a short amount of time or a long amount of time, or I know you or I don't know you, perhaps you never comment but watch, whoever you are, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for commenting, and honestly, thank you for coming on this journey with me. This channel, to this point, I've been doing this for years. This channel has been about a lot of things. Overall, it is a categorization of my progress magically and spiritually, but also it's a lot of self-help, dealing with some ideas and ideologies, understandings of spirituality, of philosophy, of history, of even politics every now and then, and how we can understand and work together in it. And I hope that my insights philosophically have helped. I hope that my insights magically and spiritually have helped. This channel is also I've done a lot of psychological videos, talking about, having schizophrenia, going through various disorders, what you can do to kind of help yourself out of these disorders, giving some advice and some perspective from dealing with a lot of these psychological issues for most of my life, honestly. I've a number of projects that I have not finished or continued, as many of you have seen over the years. But everything that's open-ended, I'm still getting to. Don't worry, I'm still slowly getting into the open-ended ones, because of course with the Walrider project, I'm continuing that, slowly picking that back up again, putting the book together. You can check out the Walrider playlist for kind of the vibe. There's a lot of guided meditations there, and I've done a lot of other guided meditations. Honestly, if you just type in Hunter Salazar guided meditations, you'll find a whole list. I'm going to keep doing those. I'm going to keep doing cooking videos and art videos. Magic and spirituality has been really heavy in the magic side recently, but magic and spirituality is the main purpose, as well as, understanding ideas and self-help and dealing with psychological issues. There's a whole lot of ends that need to be tied in this channel, and just because of my scattered brainedness and just going from one thing to another, because like a little puppy going from toy to toy to toy, I got a lot of things that are open-ended, and I know that there's a lot of people out there looking for certain things to be completed or continued, and you're looking forward to that. I really want to thank you for all your patiences, because patience size, what's the plural of patience? Maybe there isn't a plural. Anyway, I want to thank you very much for your patience, because I know that a lot of y'all have been sticking with me regardless, and there's segments of the viewership of this channel that look for different things. So I know that my Ma Kali videos get a lot of hits, and that's what I get a lot of requests for. More of those. So I've been trying to do more of those. Plus, my friend got me this beautiful new Kali Ma statue that you can see in rituals around this time of the video. I've done about 3 prior to this video I'm doing right now. But yeah, I also do want to get back into, giving book recommendations. Today, I'm actually going to do podcast recommendations and talk about some things that I've been reading. I thought that I could just throw some stuff in there that I usually don't throw in, because, hey, look, another loose end, that I can throw in to kind of give you recommendations and ideas of just kind of branching out. So I always try to learn more and more through, reading and podcasts and research practice. And I go through these phases. The reason why this channel is so, has all these different things is because I go through spiritual phases, magical phases. Magic and spirituality are just a little bit different. I view magic as more of an individualistic act than most of what I do spiritually. The shamanic practices that I perform and partake in, they are about experiencing oneness and breaking down barriers between realms in a positive way, connecting things. A lot of the magic that I do is self-empowerment. Yeah, there's a lot of people that, even left-hand path practitioners that watch my channel and really like the magical stuff that I do. That's why I'm kind of gray in general. But I go through those phases, and I also go through phases where I'm reading a lot of like philosophy, or I'm listening to a lot of philosophy podcasts, or psychoanalytical podcasts, or historical podcasts, or warfare podcasts, because I'm trying to get a grander conception of my world in every little piece. Um, I don't go into math much. I'm not a big math guy, to be honest. But and why you and before I give these recommendations, talk about what I'm reading and what I'm listening to. The reason this channel started, a lot of you know this, but I'm just going to reiterate it because we're talking about it in general now. But so this channel started as a continuation of what I was doing in high school. So this started the channel in my early 20s. So this is pretty long after high school, years after high school. What I was doing in high school, where I was just trying to figure out everything. During class, I ended up writing hundreds and hundreds of pages just trying to figure out everything because class was going so slow, and I had all these questions that obviously school wasn't addressing, and my mind started to blossom and try to figure everything out. And, I tried to figure out what love was, just kept on writing about it, kept on thinking about what the nature of animals, the nature of politics, the nature of myself, why I think this way, why I think that, why people do this, why people do that. Just pages and pages and pages of this. I was trying to record my consciousness and leave it as an imprint, pass it on for anybody it could help. This channel, in a lot of ways, is really a continuation of that project. When I started this channel, I started it to try to help people understand spirituality because I was really diving into my spiritual path, have been for a while, but I was trying to help myself and other people, but also kind of show where I'm at and catalog that, save that for myself and others in the future. So a lot of these ends that seem to compose this channel are my inner conception of myself, my conception of the world, sharing it and cataloging it. And that's why it does feel like it feels like a vlog a lot of the time, because it kind of is. I will say that, so as far as people who do various magical or spiritual services, I've gotten a lot of requests over the years to do stuff like that. And so I feel like a lot of magical and spiritual practitioners make money off of the placebo effect. Somebody believes that what they're doing is going to work, so they make it work themselves. I'm not saying that that's 100% of the time. I don't even know what percentage, but I feel like that happens a lot. And that's why I'm really hesitant to do work for people, because I don't want to guarantee results or even give a high percentage possibility that something will work if I'm not sure about it. I am sure about some of the stuff I can do, but a lot of the requests I get that may be satisfied by other spiritual or magical practitioners in something like a service, and some kind of service fee, some kind of ritual fee, what have you. I've never felt completely comfortable with doing that. I've done that a bit in the past, but and it's funny because like I should make money off of what I'm good at, and what I do. I wouldn't have to work the job that I do now, but I'm still wrestling with the comfortability of that, because I don't feel like I can guarantee a high enough percentage that something will work in order to just charge people up front. And I'm working through that, deciding how I'm going to go about this. I will say that there was one account on an app platform that I think it was called, like, I don't want to say the name of it because he got taken down for good reason. I think it was on Fiverr. And this guy, apparently, he got made hundreds of dollars before I found out about it, because two people told me. They found me external from the app. But made up a fake name, used my picture, and listed various services and examples of rituals of like how he's going to do it. It was all from my YouTube channel. He's taking pictures, he's taking video segments, and people would get a little video confirmation that the ritual was done as a piece of the ritual, and none of the stuff that he was selling, none of the services that he said he was doing this ritual was actually what was happening. He was just taking random pieces of different rituals that I did and putting them on there. He made a really good little site for himself, and a little placebo effect. That's what I'm talking about, placebo effect. Like, he wasn't actually doing these things, but people kept on like buying more stuff. I think one guy give him like $150 for various things. I hate that. And I didn't hate it because he was stealing my videos. And I didn't hate it because, I I think that my stuff is so valuable that I want the money for it. I hated it because he was screwing people over, and that's kind of the opposite of what I want to do. It's the reason why I don't make I do a lot of things for free and I give a lot of advice for free because I don't really feel comfortable making money from it. I'm still working through how I'm going to do that because this is what I do. This is what I'm good at. So I need to figure that out. Possible services in the future, going to iron things out, but that instance really annoyed me. He made hundreds of dollars before I caught him. But I've seen some other people use my content too over the years, but so that's a conflict with services that I have going there, and also why I really hate people taking advantage of the placebo effect, because I feel like it happens a lot. At any rate, I suppose we can go ahead and move to the part of the video where I talk about what I'm reading right now and podcasts. So before I get into the reading, I'm going to go ahead and start with the podcast. So just off the top of my head, Why Theory. So Why Theory is by a psychoanalyst and a philosopher. So I believe that's the correct job titles. Regardless, Why Theory, it goes into thought, how people like different works of philosophical thought. They talk about Hegel quite a bit. I think they have like 15, 20 episodes on various aspects of just ideas in this book. But just to give you an idea of and Hegel's, he's so funny because he's one of the only philosophers that writes an entire book in order to write a preface. But let me go ahead and go to the index here. This is where I should have marked the page. Consciousness, sense certainty, or the this and meaning, perception, or the thing and deception, force and the understanding, appearance and the supersensible world, self-consciousness, the truth of self-certainty, independence and dependence of self-consciousness, lordship and bondage, freedom of self-consciousness, stoicism, skepticism, and the unhappy conscience, reason, the certainty about truth of reason. So we're really talking about Hegel's in that phenomenology of the spirit, which I guess I'm adding the book thing to this too, but just really breaking down. This is really what I was doing in high school. Like I was really breaking down like why everything, but you start small and then you conceive your world, and that's what he's trying to do in that book. He's just looking at every little thing every little way that we think, that we take from other people, and just accept it. And or maybe we don't even think about why we think this way, why we have confidence in this situation, our conception of ourselves relative to society, our conception of ourselves relative to our family, relative to the way we dress, our self-identity. Who are we? Like that's all like tasty stuff to me. Like that's what I love to dive into. I have been for years, and just questioning myself. But Hegel, there's a whole lot of that on the Why Theory. You can find it on anywhere you find podcasts. There's going to be a whole lot of jargon that you're not going to get right off the bat if you don't have like a lot of philosophical history, or like you don't read these books very often. But just stick with it. Just try to see how they're working through ideas and self-understanding and consciousness, and you'll get something out of it. It's going to be grueling at the beginning, but you'll get something out of it. It's Why Theory once again. Check it out. I heard about Why Theory from the Revolutions and Ideology podcast. I'll stick that up there too. I heard about Why Theory from them. And Revolution and Ideology podcast. This is a sociologist and a historian that do this podcast, that have been for years. They talk about a lot of history, a lot of social movements. They go through a lot of history that I didn't know, that I had to go back and learn and like research about Native Americans, even being sterilized all the way through the 1970s in the United States, something like that. Exactly how slavery worked, the experience of individual slaves. We're talking about like different revolutions, the misconceptions about, even the American Revolution, how imperialism works, how capitalism versus, communism works, and like how the history behind all this stuff, the ideas, the thinking, and the ideology behind all this stuff. So they mix their expertise of sociology and history to really paint you a picture of both thinking process and the history itself, and thinking process of the people in the history. And you're gonna learn a lot of really crazy history that you should look up on your own. Don't just listen to them. And a lot of it's hard to hear, but it's very, very vital. They teach you a lot on that. Once again, it's the Revolutions in Ideology podcast. They have a YouTube channel as well. Please check them out. Feel free to tell them I sent you if you want. But it's a lot of hard history. But I feel like we have a responsibility as individuals now, benefiting from just societies in general, to learn what people went through on the way here. You don't have to feel like that for yourself, but that's how I feel. So that's why I learn about these things. And they're doing something pretty interesting when they get a bunch of death threats because they're talking about history nobody wants to talk about, and they even get on the news for talking about controversial things, controversial perspectives, I think if you go against the grain, that's going to happen. At any rate, another podcast, the Short History of. Now, I listened to Short History of. It's just a whole bunch of different random history. History about castles in Britain, medieval time. History of Jack the Ripper. History of the Wild West. History of the Black Death. History of like circuses, or just, agriculture, just a whole bunch of histories from, and they make it interesting. They tell you a story from like on the ground, from like, individuals. They paint you a picture. So it's not just teaching all this stuff. They paint you a picture. Short History of paints you a picture to give you a snapshot of different times in history. And it's short, like 45 minutes, around 35, 45 minutes. But it really paints you a picture. They have pretty professional, voice acting and sound. So it gives you history, and it's interesting. Little fun one. Not another D&D podcast. That one is just purely for fun, man. Like it's a really if you like D&D podcasts, it's a good podcast. Fun to listen to. They're goofy in all the right ways, and that's why I love it. And the DM is really good with he's, of course, you have some of these podcasts, the DM's not great with D&D, very good with D&D, funny actors. Not another D&D podcast. As far as plugging podcasts, I think I'm going to go ahead and transfer to the book part because this is getting kind of long. So I talked about Hegel's. So these are kind of like the areas that I'm in right now. Karl Marx, Capital, Volume 1, Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit. The Rebel, Albert Camus. I got some Kant over there, but everybody knows Kant. But talk about the Phenomenology of Spirit. Interestingly enough, Hegel, his idea of liberation and defining identity, he thinks that it comes through alienation. Now, if you don't know anything about Hegel and philosophy, that's going to sound really bad. But he thinks in feeling an alienation from things around you, once you learn and dive within yourself, that's when you find out who you are. That's when you actually are liberated, just very basically. Camus, French philosopher, 40s, 30s, 1900s, he also believes that you are liberated and you find self-definition and purpose through rebelling against something that... So he thinks that you have to find something, one thing, at least, basically one thing in his philosophy, that is so precious to you that you cannot allow it to be harmed or to be attacked, or is it degrading? There's something that is so valuable within yourself that's degrading that you have to rebel against what is degrading it. He's not necessarily talking about going out and revolting against the government. That's not really what he's talking about. He's talking about liberation and just finding self-identity through finding that part of yourself that is the most precious, that you will not allow it to be harmed. I'm really glossing over, there's a whole lot to these books that I'm just throwing at you, that little tiny pieces, but check them out. So once again, Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirits, classic, written 1812, I think. The Rebel by Albert Camus. Another really interesting, and the way I found out about both of these is, Hegel's already had, but the way I found out about Camus was the Revolutions in Ideology podcast, as well as the Why My Theory. Them talking about it gives me it's so much easier to read those books, listening to their podcast talk about it. And once again, Take a little time, but just keep with it. It's really thick, dense stuff, though. Keep that in mind. Karl Marx, Capital. So Karl Marx, I mean, everybody kind of knows who he is, but Communist Manifesto is not really what was foundational. So Capital, he wrote a book that was so foundational to sociology and history that, like, even people who are completely opposite him, that are very capitalistic, have to use his terms, because he just created the language to talk about, like, economics and materialism and the relationship between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie are the ones who make money off of exploiting other people's labor. Proletariats are those who sell their labor. And he talks about how it's kind of like slavery, where you're selling your labor, and the bourgeoisie are making money and making capital off of your labor. I'm barely going into what he talks about in Capital, and I'm definitely not even done with it. I just know a lot about it because of listening to various things, but podcasts, as well as reading. I read the Communist Manifesto, and now I'm reading that, but that was a while back. But interestingly enough, the way Marx relates to Camus and Hegel is that, by the way, Karl Marx, he doesn't like exploiting labor. He thinks that we should keep the fruits of our labor, and that anything that's public. So there's a difference between private property and personal property and private property. Private property is something that somebody can use to exploit you. For instance, like a corporation owning a grocery store. They exploit your labor through that and make money, and they get the money from it. So they're exploiting your labor. You're not getting the results of your labor. You have no contact with the material. You are in a chain of events. You are not involved in the production of things for yourself, nor are you in collaboration truly. Personal property, because they always talk about communists are coming for your toothbrush. Ain't nobody coming for your toothbrush, bro. So personal property is like your house. It's not an apartment building. Somebody can exploit you through that, but like a house, like your desk and like just your stuff. Like that's not going to be necessarily communal. Somebody can't use my t-shirt to exploit me, but I don't produce my t-shirt. Somebody else's labor is exploited. He talks about all of this in the in his various works. But regardless, so Marx's definition he thinks that liberation, self-understanding, self-definition, comes through not alienation. He thinks that current capitalistic system, and because he saw this coming in the early 1800s. Because that was the Industrial Revolution, late 1700s. That's when it started. He started talking about it. He started thinking about it. So he saw how things were exploited, how people were being exploited, things like that. But he thinks that the current system that we are in economically, and he really called it way ahead of time, is kind of what alienates us. And that he wants to get rid of that alienation. He wants people to be more at one with each other, at one with everything, their means of production. He just wants oneness. He wants oneness to exist. Now he talks about, communism basically means the dictatorship of the proletariat. So, but it's in his, in a lot of him and Eagle's work, it's like completely democratic, but like basically the state owns everything until eventually everything's fair. And, there's enough, like, dictatorship by the proletariat, and then the state will naturally just wither away, and there will be this oneness with nature and each other, things like that. Now, I'm being a little bit derogatory in my explanation, but, I'm not a Marxist, no matter how much it sounds like it, because I know about this stuff, but yeah, he believes that liberation, self-definition, and happiness will come when we're more at one with our environment, with our means of production, producing things, and each other, rather than having a class system with people with various amounts of money and various amounts of things and control over others. So anyway, that's how it. He believes that alienation is something to fight against, and one that is sought to be found. Hegel's and even Camus believes that alienation actually brings our reaction to our alienation brings self-definition and liberation. At any rate, this this is a really long video about some of what I'm reading and all, listening to podcast wise. And honestly, just me talking about the channel. I hope that y'all got something out of this, because I didn't mean it to be this long. But thank you very much for watching. If you like this video at all, hit that thumbs up down there. It really helps out the channel. Leave a comment if you're still with me all the way to this point, and you enjoy the channel. It always helps to get comments and likes. Also, if you have any recommendations for future things you want me to wrap up or things you want me to start, feel free to shoot it down in the comment section below. Also, keep in mind, I'm going to start pushing my Patreon more because this is like a free donation thing, and you can see all my videos there, plus a little extra stuff. It's patreon.com/darkrealist, capital D, capital R. That's where you can donate to me if you appreciate my channel, and if I get more patrons, I can... honestly, you can just help my work because I do have a limited amount of money, and you can support me and appreciate the work that I do by becoming a patron. And even if you only give like $2 a month, that gets more people confident in it, more people and more patrons attracted to the idea of it. So please feel free to become a patron. At any rate, I love all of you. I hope that I have helped you in some way, and if I have not, I endeavor to do so. I hope that that this channel benefits you, and it will continue to benefit you, and at the very least you find something interesting here or just something fun to watch. Thank you very much, and I want all of you to have a wonderful day.